Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here for a very special episode of My Shoe. We're here to talk about magic novels, not just talk about them, but show them. I have been sent virtually every magic novel in existence. I am only missing a Planeswalker's Guide to Alara currently. What happened was a lovely gentleman, and that's the only time you'll hear me call you that, Andrew, by the name of Andrew G, actually put in the trouble to go out and acquire every magic novel in existence and have them all mailed to himself and then mail them to me in one big, amazing box of goodness. Oh, it was so much fun opening that box. We did that in live stream in case you weren't there for it. So what I want to do is I actually want to go through and look at the cover art and the little flavor blurbs on the back of all the novels. We have all the cycles and a bunch of independent books, some of which I have never even seen. So, bit of a warning, this is a spoiler alert style video. There are definitely story spoilers in the little blurbs on the book. So, if you don't want to know, now's your chance to run. Ready? We're going to do this. Let us dive in. And we're not doing it in chronological order. I've got them all, this huge pile on the table here. So, we're going to start out apparently with Magic Legends Cycle 2. There are 2 cycles. So the first book in this cycle is called Assassin's Blade. And it says on the back, assassination has its price. Scheming, intelligent, and power-hungry, the Emperor's assassin moves always in shadow. He kills whom his master wishes and plans his own rise to power. Against him, one man stands on his honor, determined to end the cycle of death dealt from the dark corners. Amid a dark landscape ravaged by war, the two at last confront one another. At stake is the future of the Empire. So that's the first one in the cycle. Some of these will have like noticeable names, characters, This is Emperor's Fist. Look at that. Look at the dwarf on the cover of that, or giant. Honor tested by war. Though his assassins have failed, the godlike Mandarin Emperor has other ways of crushing rebellion. He sends the brutal imperial army to rein in a defiant island chain, and the empire is once more plunged into violence. The Emperor's champion accompanies the army, but his loyalty will be tested by the horrors of war. Can the champion achieve honorable victory, or will he and the rebels alike be crushed by the Emperor's fist? Ooh! And then the third book in the cycle is Champion's Trial. Evil triumphant, a dragon sits on the throne of Madara, and his regent rules with knives in the dark. The islands bleed, the mainland shakes, and even the champion has forsaken his office. Does no honor remain in the empire? Ask Aisha, there's a character we recognize from Legends, who has turned her hands from breaking artifacts to making forests. Cool! Ask Wistoria, whose cat dragon kits fight the armies of evil. Most of all, ask Tetsuo, who must regain his honor by destroying the emperor he once served. Tetsuo Umezawa, we will see, he is actually the progenitor of what's his name? Toshiro. And Toshiro's in other books. Oh, that's cool. So we're going to look at the first magic cycle now. And this is Johan. He has his own Legends card. The back says the battle for Bryce has begun. The city of Bryce is being watched by unfriendly eyes. A mysterious prophecy, a desperate wizard, and an extraordinary tiger man are somehow caught up in the city's destiny. One man must race against time to understand how and why, or risk the enslavement of his people. I've actually read this one. I had a copy of this sent out in advance to me by Habanero, and I read it. This is old school goodness. So I'm very happy to see what else is in the cycle. The second book is Jedit O'Shannon. Oh, dude. Okay. Lost in the pages of history, in a time that made legends, in a world separated from the rest of the cosmos by an ancient war, a warrior, half man, half tiger, embarks on a perilous adventure that will decide the fate of a continent. Even the desert sands cannot erase the story of Jedit O'Shannon, one of the characters from the Magic Legends card set. Oh, man. Oh, and look at that lady there. What's up, girl? How you doing? How you doing? Then we've got Hazazon. This is the third book in the cycle. Hazazon is a main character in the series. Who dare speak of the prophecy? The denizens of the desert live in the shadow of the sacred, where battles are won or lost at the whims of the gods. Now the outcome of one desert war could change the history of Dominaria forever. The prophecy of None 1 and 2 will finally be fulfilled. That prophecy is mentioned multiple times in the first book, and I am genuinely curious as to what it is. Then we've got the Mercadian Mask Cycle. I don't even know what to expect from this one. I've never read these books. Treachery stalks the Weatherlight. Escaping from wrath, the crew of the flying ship Weatherlight finds itself adrift. Grieving for their lost comrades and in need of repairs, they make their painful way to Mercadia, a city where everything is for sale. But not everything is as it seems. In the streets of Mercadia, the heroes of the Weatherlight find that more than merchandise can be bought and sold. All right. So that's the first book of the Mercadian cycle. The second, oh, look at that. It's Krovax looking all menacing. I actually have a lore video on Krovax on the channel if you want to check it out. It's in the lore playlist. Oh my God, oh my God. Before I read the back, holy crap. Look at this artwork. Look at Urtai. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that. Look at how goofy he looks. Look at that weird, like, what is he doing? He's like, girl, I'm gonna get me some. Oh, sweet booty. He's a creep. So I creep, yeah. All right, what does it say on the back here? A new threat looms on the horizons. The long-awaited completion of Wrath is approaching. The Dark Lord's plans to invade Dominaria will soon see fruition. Only the struggle for power in this artificial plane remains. Urza Planeswalker will not stop the Phyrexian Empire. Witness the creation of his nemesis. Urza Planeswalker sounds dumb. I just call him Urza. Urza Planeswalker is silly. And then we have the third book in the cycle. This is Prophecy. The Keldans have landed in the north. The Jamuran League of City-States has put together a ragtag defense and enlisted the help of the Planeswalker Teferi. But even a Planeswalker cannot by himself hold back the might of Keld. There's actually some cool artwork on the back of this one too. Right on, man. These books look fantastic. All right, then we've got the Onslaught cycle. So, bam, there you go. Look at that, man. You can see Ixodor. The land is in upheaval. The forest grows out of control. The mountains erupt. The seas boil. The swamps spew acid, and the plains turn to desert. Yet, amidst the turmoil, there is civilization, brutal and unforgiving. Pit fighters battle to the death before tremendous crowds, making some rich, while others lose everything in one stroke of a sword. The games must continue. So must the struggle for survival. Man, I'm stoked about these. This is amazing. There's so many books. All right, we've got Legions. This is the Onslaught Cycle's second book. In titanic battle, the world stands divided. On one side stands the followers of Phage, who cry out for new arena combats, new champions, new blood spilled in the sand. On the other are supporters of Akroma the Angel, who preaches a terrifying religion hallowing her creator. In the middle stands the lonely figure of Kamal. Once a champion of the pits, he must now atone for the terrible wrongs he has wrought. Those wrongs gave birth to Phage and Akroma. They gave birth to the suffering of the world. Now Kamal must sweep the land clean of this terrible blight, but his fury may destroy that which he most loves. The story of Kamal is actually pretty interesting. He goes from being a red character to a green character in a pretty cool way. And this is the third book in the Onslaught cycle. This is Scourge. The battle rages on. Amid the titanic clash between Phage and Akroma, all Dominaria shuddered. Now, out of the destruction and chaos, a new force arises, and Kamal must face his greatest foe, Corona. Her arms spread to the very clouds, and her robes trail like rays of sunlight. She is the destroyer. She is the answer. Man, very, very dope. Then we've got the Invasion cycle. This is one of the Weatherlight cycle of books here. So I guess not really the Weatherlight cycle, the Weatherlight saga, because the Weatherlight is a long series. So this is Invasion Book 1. Dominaria faces its biggest threat, an invasion by its greatest enemy, an attack planned for eons by merciless foes. No one is exempt from their terror. No land is safe from their onslaught. In the shadow of the Phyrexian horde, Dominaria has but one hope, the Weatherlight and her crew. The time has come to defend hearth and home from invasion. Yeah. Then we've got Planeshift, the second book in the cycle. The first wave is over, but the invasion rages on. In the midst of all-out war, The ground shifts and moves. Millions upon millions of invaders appear out of nowhere as the artificial plane of wrath overlays Dominaria, covering the natural landscape with the unnatural horrors of Phyrexia. There is no rest for the wicked. Oh, yeah. Then we've got Apocalypse. Man, these books are in great shape, too. A lot of these books are in really nice shape. This one is really nice. Okay, so the end is near. Phyrexian plagues and shock troops have taken their toll. The final stage of the invasion has begun, and the Dark Lord Yawgmoth himself plans to cross over into Dominaria to claim his prize. With time running out, the battered hero's last hope to save their home lies in an ancient, untested weapon, a collection of artifacts known as the Legacy. Bear witness to the apocalypse. Legit, I'm getting a little bit of shivers here, man. Honestly, I was just like, ooh! All right, the time spiral block is next. So we've got the first book here. Time is running out. The Planeswalker Teferi at last returns to his home plane only to find it devastated and barren. Time itself is fracturing, and it's up to Teferi and his companions to find a way to halt the collapse. It won't be easy when his allies are poised to turn against him. All right. Dude. The second book? This is the second book, right? Yep, Planar Chaos. Okay. Look at that, man. You got Venser and his crazy machine there. Okay. Teferi safely returned one of the lost continents to Dominaria, but at what cost? For all his effort, he only delayed the inevitable collapse of time and space. Now he must accomplish as a mortal what he couldn't manage before. For all of his godlike might, Teferi must save the world. Easier said than done, when the only power he has left is his wit. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah! Then we got Future Sight. Again, gorgeous shape. Good Lord. Like brand new. This book is old, too. That's amazing. Look at that artwork. Isn't that gorgeous? It's time to make a stand. 3 more Planeswalkers are dead or lost. How many more will allow themselves to be led to the slaughter? It's not easy to convince godlike beings to risk their lives on the word of a man known for his lies. But the fate of the multiverse depends on it. For once in his life, Teferi can't run away. Man, such cool stories. So that's the time spiral block. Next up, we have the Kamigawa block. I really like the Kamigawa story. It's too bad the Kamigawa was not really a fan favorite set because of the weakness of the cards. So here we can see the old Kondo. He's crazy. All right. The war with the spirit world has begun. In a world of mysticism and honor, a war is brewing. Spirits launch attacks against humans, as in the shadows, a terror lurks just beyond sight. Machiko, daughter of the warlord Konda. Did I say Kondo? Kondo. Anyways, Konda. Machiko, daughter of the warlord Konda, must brave the dangers outside her father's fortress to consult holy monks and the Orochi, snake folk with a strong connection to the spirit world. Yet when Machiko meets Umezawa, a thief and black magic user, she realizes that to stop the war, to stop the war that's about to sweep the land, she may have to make alliances with her enemies. And the most dangerous foes may be her friends. So this is where we see the descendant of Umezawa that I mentioned. This is where we get to see Toshiro in action. And that's right here. This is a really sweet storyline, in all honesty. A rogue warrior struggles with loyalty. Now in the employ of Princess Machiko and beholden to Myojin of Knight's Reach, Toshi Umezawa, tries to honor his commitments while pursuing his own ends. But as the Kami War threatens to engulf Kamigawa, an unimaginably powerful spirit beast threatens the world. And at the heart of the battle moves the figure of the daimyo, whose impassive features conceal a sinister crime that gnaws at the world's heart. Awesome. All right, now we've got Guardians. This is the final book in the Kamigawa cycle. The victory of the spirit world is at hand. The Ronin Toshi has sought to avoid the great conflict between the spirit and human realms. But despite his best efforts, he's not only involved in it, he's at the center of it. Together with the Princess Machiko, daughter of the daimyo Konda, he must find a way to stave off the impending victory of the Kami, while preserving his own life in the bargain. Amid the complicated maneuvers of the Fox people, the Moonfolk, and the daimyo himself, Toshi can rely on only one person: himself. Dude, this is so many novels. The next cycle we have to look at, Ravnica. A labyrinth of intrigue. Lieutenant Agris Koss enjoys his work. A top-notch officer of the City Guard, He's been on the Force over 50 years. He works alone, and the League of Wojek never had problems with him or his work, until now. They gave him a partner to train, who promptly got himself killed. And the more he looks into the death, the less he likes it. Something dark is moving within the guilds of Ravnica. Ooh. This is the original Ravnica block, in case you're wondering. Guild Pact is the second novel. A savage wasteland. One guild ravages the streets. Teysa leads another to cleanse them, and Agreskos doesn't give a damn. But as he watches the guilds nip and tear at each other like snakes, something clicks. Now his mind is clear, as are his options. A disaster grows under the city's crowded streets. He knows what he must do. Dude. Oh, look at this one. This has got Rakdos. Look at how intense he looks, man. That's crazy. Streets of war. The streets of Ravnica run red with blood. Guild fights guild and horrifying monsters ravage the city, destroying all who stand in their way. But as Ravnica crumbles, a method emerges from the madness, and it becomes clear that the city's chaos was calculated. Something must be done. And unfortunately for Kos, being dead doesn't mean you don't have a job to do. Ooh, see, like I said, there are some spoilers on the back of these novels. Moving on to the original Mirrodin cycle, featuring Glissa. All right, a world beyond imagination, where forests of metal claw the sky, where razor-sharp metallic grasses stretch across the plains, where vast oceans of quicksilver conceal predators awaiting the unwary. Across this harsh landscape, an orphaned elf must make her way, seeking the secrets of her past, daring the perils of her present, and she must tear aside the veil that hides the face of an enemy hidden, whose power extends all across Mirrodin. These ones were particularly interesting. I remember reading these novels and being right into it. All right, after that, we've got The Darksteel Eye, the second book in the Mirrodin cycle. A prize beyond understanding. A goblin tinkerer with a strangely heroic spirit. An iron golem searching for his lost memories. An elf who carries with her the knowledge that could shake the world. Together, they must flee across the harsh metal world of Mirrodin, running from an enemy who seems all-knowing and anticipates their every move. Amid savage battles and breathtaking escapes, they are ever aware of a power that stands at the very center of their world. For within the deepest reaches of Mirrodin, the Darksteel Eye watches and waits. I'm stoked. And the third book in the cycle is the fifth Dawn novel, An Enemy Beyond Evil, whose eye sees into every corner of Mirrodin, whose ambition strides across the plains, whose foe is a lonely elf and her loyal goblin companion. The fury of Memnarch is turned against Glissa and Slobad as they make their way across Mirrodin in search of new allies. From the city of the Leonin to the dark fortress Panopticon, their travels range until they come face to face with the creator of Mirrodin himself. And from his lips, they will hear the prophecy that can remake their world. My God, I'm getting so stoked. Like, this is amping me up, honestly. I'm loving it. Then we've got the Ice Age cycle, and I don't believe I've read most of these books. I think that I've only read the first novel in this cycle. So, this is the first Ice Age novel, The Gathering Dark. Terriosair lies in ruins. Nations have fallen, goblins raid the land, and an oppressive faith throttles the city-states. Now deep within the walls of the Conclave of Mages, Joda must decide if unlocking his own immense power is worth taking a step into the Darklands. The epic of the Ice Age begins. So cool. You can see like Barl's cage back here and everything. Man, so dope. Now the second book, The Eternal Ice. After the darkness comes the ice. Thousands of years after the explosion at Argoth that ended the Brothers' War, ice has covered the world of Dominaria. The strong have turned to barbarism. The weak have died. Now Lim-Dul, a necromancer with a taste for power, seeks to awaken a deeper evil. Ooh, and look at the artwork there. Look at that lady on the back. Ooh, hello, honey. Very cool. Lim-Dul. And then the third book in the cycle. And these are in such great shape for being so old. After the ice comes peril. The Ice Age has come to an abrupt end. But the world's troubles have not. Legions of undead still plague the living. The temporary peace in Keljor has come to an end, and an evil far more treacherous than Lim-Dul has been unleashed upon the land. The ice has gone, but the evil remains. Dude, what? All right. What's the next cycle we have here? The Odyssey cycle. Okay. Speaking of Kamal, like I did before, he features heavily. Look, there he is right there on the cover. All right, the journey begins anew. The apocalypse has come and gone. The landscape is blasted and civilization has been torn asunder. The world has turned to pit fights and blood contests where quick wits and a good grip on a blade may keep a man alive for another day. Amidst this life and death struggle arises an artifact of compelling power. None can resist it. All desire it, but only one can hold it. Ooh, the power of that artifact too, pretty insane. Second book in the cycle is the Torment book. Something horrible lurks in Cabal City. In the pit-fighting arenas, a Cabal dementia caster enters a trance. Deep in the recesses of his mind skulk horrors and unimaginable nightmares. And no longer do those monstrosities wait until dark to come out. Look at the art on the back there too. Look at that. That's pretty intense, man. That is pretty intense. And the third book in the cycle is the Judgment book. Oh, look, it's Jessica. She's actually going to get a card this year in one of the Commander things they're doing. The time has come. Every powerful wizard and fighter on the continent of Otaria wants one thing: power. One artifact can give them undeniably that which they seek, and nothing will stop any of them from possessing it. But in the end, only one can have it, and his actions will determine the fate of the world. The day of judgment has arrived. Dude, so good. Oh, yes. And this is one of the most exciting cycles that we're going to talk about next. This is one I'm actually in the process of reading through right now. The Artifact cycle. Urza and Mishra, the original Brothers War storyline. So good. So good. Okay, so the myth, the magic. Dominarian legends speak of a mighty conflict, obscured by the mists of history. Of a conflict between the brothers Urza and Mishra for supremacy on the continent of Terriasair. Of titanic engines that scarred and twisted the very planet. Of a final battle that sank continents and shook the skies. The saga of the Brothers' War. Oh, I feel the chills, baby. Oh, yes. All right. Now, the second book in the cycle, Planeswalker. Urza triumphant. The war between Urza and Mishra is over. Brooding on the death of his brother at the hands of extraplanar forces, Urza drifts among the planes. But the end of the Brothers' War has transformed him into something greater. Deep within his heart, a spark has been kindled to a flame that cannot be quenched. Urza has become a Planeswalker. Oh! 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 I can't handle it, man. Woo! I'm getting all misty-eyed. This is fantastic. All right. We've got Book 3, Time Streams. Urza's legacy unfolds. Urza Planeswalker has enlisted the most brilliant minds from across Dominaria to study at his academy on Teleria. Together they work to bring to life the greatest artifact weapon Urza has ever devised, hoping to use it to defend their home from imminent Phyrexian invasion. But treachery and tragedy stalk the tiny island, as Urza and his followers seek to manipulate time itself. Oh man, such a good storyline. I'm so stoked. And the final, because this is a 4-book cycle, Bloodlines. Blood has been spilled. Battle lines have been drawn. Time is getting short as Teleria races to find the one who will wield the power of the legacy. Deep in the inner circle, the Dark Lord Yawgmoth sends out an edict. Kill Urza Planeswalker. From the bloodlines of the Benelish Plains, a hero is born. Oh, it's Gerard! It's Gerard! Yay! All right. And another 4-book cycle that's actually broken into 2 cycles is interesting enough. There's the Lorwyn and the Shadowmoor cycle, which are 2 books each. So, Lorwyn, book number 1. What happens when the hunter... What? Oh, okay. What happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? Rise is an elf, perfect in every way, born to lord over the lower races. But then a desperate ritual goes awry, and he emerges disfigured, a blight upon the eyes of the beautiful. Now hunted by his own people, he must adapt, and secure the help of those he once spurned, before it's too late. Dude, the elves of Lorwyn are just awful people. And the second Lorwyn book is Morningtide. The only thing she ever wanted is the only thing she fears. All her life, Aisling has hunted her wild elemental, seeking a merging of beings and an awakening of power, only to be forced into it years ahead of schedule. Now the elemental haunts her, turning her life into a nightmare. She knows it wants something, but can she figure out what it is before it's too late? So those are the 2 Lorwyn books. And then we've got the 2 Shadowmoor books. So this is the first Shadowmoor. When the Great Aurora comes, an epic of darkness descends. I actually talked about the Great Aurora in yesterday's video where we went over the secret lair. The daylit world of Lorwyn is no more, its beauty forgotten by all but a precious few. The other souls have descended into a darkness that mirrors the sky above their heads, and unthinkable horrors lurk in the ever-present shadows of a world gone bad. Man, I love this. I love magic lore so much. I'm so excited about this. The Great Aurora has come. No sun will rise over the world of Shadowmoor, and all but a precious few have forgotten the daylit world that once was. In the perpetual night of Shadowmoor, a few brave heroes will fight the world itself for a last glimmer of light. The Great Aurora has come, and darkness has won. That, my friends, is the total of all the cycles, I believe. The rest of these books are individual ones, and we're going to dive right into that. But because of the nature of my camera, I have to quickly stop recording and start recording again. Very weird, but that's what we're going to do. All right, now we're back to talk about individual novels. So we've got Agents of Artifice. There are 2 of these Planeswalker novels. Honestly, I've never read these. By this time, I had kind of lost interest in magic lore for a while and was doing other things in life. Of all the creatures in the multiverse, only the Planeswalkers know its limitless expanse. Only the Planeswalkers have the spark that allows them to travel through the aether between worlds, that chaotic medium known as the Blind Eternities. Jace Beleren, a powerful sorcerer whose rare telepathic ability opens doors many would prefer closed, is at a crossroads. The decisions he makes now will forever affect his path. Tezzeret, megalomaniacal leader of an interplanar cabal, marshals the power of the multiverse for his own nefarious gain. Liliana Vess, a mercurial necromancer whose dark beauty belies secrets still darker, has designs neither can predict. All right, I have to admit that I am less excited about those. I'm more excited about the older novels, like this, for example, The Song of Time. I never knew this existed. Oh, it has writing on the front. The Armageddon clock is ticking, and the Beast of Hours will be unleashed unless a young archaeologist can solve an ancient riddle. Very cool. So, a new body in an old grave, an ancient family totem with an unknown glyph, and a sleeping horror that could destroy Dominia. Dominia is a term they don't use anymore. All are pieces to a vast puzzle. A puzzle as mysterious and ancient as the secret society known as the Circle. Cheyenne, a young archaeologist with no past of his own, is determined to solve the ancient riddle before it's too late. Aided only by his wits, an old music box, and several unexpected companions, Cheyenne must find the Armageddon clock before time runs out and the angry beast of the hours wakes again. Cool! And on the back, you can see pictures of things like Armageddon clock. That's awesome. I like these. These are like one-off stories. The next one is Ashes of the Sun. To an outsider, Minotaur politics can be subtle and deadly. All right, so it says, Ayesh knows that danger lurks in the Mirrodin Mountains, and danger is just what she wants. With her beloved cities of Nia turned to dust and rubble in the Goblin Wars, with even their memory fading to legend, what reason does she have to go on living? She's ready to die, as long as she goes down killing goblins. But the Mirrodin Minotaurs have plans for Ayesh, plans that don't include her death yet. And as Ayesh becomes entangled in the intricate web of Mirrodin politics, she realizes that allies can be even deadlier than enemies. Ooh. All right. Then we've got, I guess, are there more than 2 Planeswalkers novels? Because this is Testamental. There might be 3. From the ashes of defeat, Tezzeret rises again. Beaten to within an inch of his life and left for dead by the psychic sorcerer Jace Beleren, Tezzeret, it's really interesting to think about Jace beating up Tezzeret. Anyways, Tezzeret has lost control of the Infinite Consortium, an interplanar cabal he commanded with the power and influence few in the multiverse have ever achieved. Now, he must turn to a former enemy for help, the dragon Nicol Bolas, perhaps the only planeswalker in the multiverse powerful enough to get him back on his feet. Bolas, however, has his reservations. What can Tezzeret give him that he doesn't already have? So begins Tezzeret's search for the secret of Ethereum, a magical alloy infused with all the power of the Blind Eternities, thought to have been lost with the disappearance of the Great Sphinx, Crucius the Mad. Tezzeret's quest is clear, but his thirst for revenge clouds his decisions. Will he achieve his goal, or will he be bested by his own ambition? So many cool novels. Oh, Greensleeves and Gall. I remember these. This is so old. Oh, I love it. I love it. Shattered Chains. Oh man, they even used to give out like special magic cards in these novels. Or like they had a giveaway in the back. To common folk like Gull and Greensleeves, wizards were a blight on the land. When Greensleeves discovered her own magical ability, she decided to use it to break the power of the other wizards. Gull's army helped, but not much, and Gull wasn't much of a general. Their mana vault might have helped, but she hadn't learned how to control it. Then a hero, Benalia, was sent to stop them in their mana vault, and their mana vault came alive. Things couldn't get any worse. Or so they thought, until the other wizards caught on to what Greensleeves was doing. And actually, I'll show you in the back here, the little sheet. They had these free cards, and you would cut this out, send it in, and they would actually mail you a unique magic card that wasn't available any other way. Pretty cool. And here we have the very first magic novel, Garth One-Eye. This is where it all started. Yeah! Arena. Okay, so it says, Festival will never be the same again. For even as the fighter mages of the four great houses prepare for their annual battle in the arena, a stranger arrives for Festival. Who is Garth One-Eye, and where did he get his powerful spells? What is his interest in the fifth house destroyed a generation ago? And why is the Grand Master of the arena so afraid of what Garth might do? The answer may bring about the fall of the four houses, or Garth. Amazing. Oh, so cool. A little bit simplistic, but very cool. Then we have an anthology, Wrath and Storm. This has Gerard's Legacy and Gerard's Quest in it. A collection of powerful magic artifacts is the only defense against the forces of evil that are arrayed against Dominaria. Gerard, the heir to the Legacy, together with Sisay, captain of the flying ship Weatherlight, has sought out many parts of the Legacy. Sisay has been kidnapped by Volrath, ruler of the Plane of Wrath. Gerard stands at a crossroads. His companion is in danger. The Legacy may be lost forever. Only he with the loyal crew of the Weatherlight can rescue Sisay and recover the Legacy. So I guess this has two different stories in it. There's a bunch of anthologies. This is The Secret of Magic. I've never seen this one before. The world is a mystery. Ancient troves of artifacts await discovery. The origins of potent spells rest lost between the pages of archaic tomes. The evolution of monstrous beasts lie outside of a researcher's grasp until now. At last, long forgotten and expertly hidden secrets will be revealed. Ooh, man. I'm looking forward to getting into these novels. We've got The Quest for Karn. At the edge of Mirrodin's metallic fields lied the toxic morass of the Mephedros, a vast swamp whose power feeds the world's blackest souls. Rumors of strange and deadly creatures emerging from the dark fen are spreading faster than its corroded borders. Few who have seen the abominations believe them to be a new order of the undead Nim. Fewer still understand they are the harbinger of great corruption, an impending Phyrexian invasion. Venser and his allies Elspeth, Tyrael, and Mirrodin native Koth know of the Phyrexian contagion and search for a way to contain it. Having first consolidated their power in the Plains Hollow interior, the Phyrexians are found on every part of the surface now, from the Razor Fields to the city of Lumengrid, and larger numbers are beginning to mass around centers of civilization. The would-be father of machines, Karn, lost to creation, is the only planeswalker who can potentially stop the Phyrexians of Mirrodin and throughout the rest of the multiverse. He must be found. Very cool. Then we've got The Myths of Magic, and it says, perhaps the stories are true. Welcome to a world of rich folklore, where angels watch over the righteous, in which sea monsters sink ships, where dark figures lurk under every child's bed. Now the mysteries of Dominaria are explained. And I believe this is actually the one where I did some, some stories on. Yeah, some of these are in the lore playlist. I'm going to link the lore playlist at the end. Some of the stories in here have actually already gotten videos. Then we've got The Prodigal Sorcerer. For centuries, the Magewall has isolated a battle-torn valley. Their three races live in perpetual strife fueled by prejudice and fear. The Viashino hate the Garen loathe the humans, and the humans despise them all. But a new day is dawning. Tagart Tarngold, what a name, a human leader, has a plan that could bring harmony to his war-ravaged home. And he's enlisted the aids of Allegorius, a sorcerer from the Institute of Arcane Studies, in his efforts. Peace may be on the horizon at last, but the terrible price of Targard's peace may be more than his people can pay. You can see there's a prodigal sorcerer on the back of this, and a swamp randomly. Then we've got the Zendikar novel, Teeth of Akum. Lurking in the space between the aether and the physical plane, there is a great evil waiting to emerge. Zendikar is a land of danger and adventure, a world of deadly perils and priceless treasures. It's also a prison to one of the most deadly threats the multiverse has ever known, the dreaded Eldrazi. Nissa Ravane, a planeswalker and proud elf warrior, is witness to what they can do when she stumbles into a vanguard wave of the monstrous brood. What she doesn't know is that these monsters are but pale reflections of the still imprisoned titans. But the ancient vampire planeswalker Soren Markov knows all too well the power of the Eldrazi titans. He was among the original jailers of the Aetherborn Scourge, and he has returned to Zendikar to make sure they do not escape. Both have their own ideas about what is to be done, but neither knows what's in store as they set out across the land in search of the source of the Eldrazi uprising. Man, so many books, good lord. We're almost done going through all these books, good lord. All right, and Peace Shall Sleep. I've never seen this one. One problem with dragon eggs, they hatch into dragons. I love it, the cover looks great. Rio Dai was being paid big money, elf money, to stir up trouble along the Icatian goblin border. And the Havenwood elves were getting their money's worth. Dragon eggs are ideal weapons in the hands of someone like Riyadh, who knows just what to do with them. But when the elves abruptly canceled his contract, Riyadh found himself low on funds and lower on options. He set off on his way to Havenwood in a desperate attempt to reason with the elves, because he can't very well reason with dragon eggs. And those eggs have to be used, and soon, or else. That seems like it's going to be fun. Then we've got the Dragons of Magic. This is an anthology. What beasts rule our dreams? Ancient primevals enslaved our ancestors, and modern dragon engines enslave us. Plains dragons defend humans, and undead dragons destroy them. And all dragons hold mysteries deep within. Uncover the secrets of the dragons of Dominaria. All about dragons! That's nothing to sneeze at. Then we've got The Colors of Magic. This is another anthology. The brother struggle for power has ended. Argoth is decimated. Tidal waves have turned canyons into rivers. Earthquakes leveled the cities. Dominaria is in ruins. Now the struggle for this war-torn world is to survive. So this takes place after the events of the Brothers' War and covers a world that's changed by it. The Cursed Land. This is another one that I've read. Centuries ago, hungry for power, the wizard Nor destroyed the clan tree of Kriti, trying to harness its magic for his own uses. Nor's deed brought a curse upon his family, divided the clan, and plunged the island of Kriti into generations of darkness. Now, a turning point has been reached. Eilith, a gifted but untried mage, has been kidnapped by the cruel Nazir in an attempt to wrest away the last of her family's legacy. But what Nazir intends to take away by force can only be given freely, or the ancient wounds of the parting will never be healed. There's some interesting concepts in this novel. I remember being impressed by some of what happens in here. Whispering Woods. This is another Gull and Greensleeves novel. Help wanted. Wizard's assistant must be willing to relocate in space and time. That's fun. Gull should have known better than to take the job. But with his village destroyed and a half-wit sister to look after, what choice did he have? At least the pay was good. But this wizard was even worse than the ones he had heard about. Between the tavern brawls and the magical battles and taking care of that strange artifact that turned up, a guy could barely find time to catch his breath. And now with his sister beginning to gather her wits, Gull really has his hands full. That's cool. He thinks his sister's a half-wit. She actually turns out to be a really powerful wizard, which leads to some interesting scenarios. Then we've got Tapestries. This is the most boring one to look at, cover-wise. So, these are the sights and sounds of the universe of magic. Planeswalkers duel in worlds beyond imagining, while life goes on for the simple folk in a land where the very earth is filled with mana, the power that fires a magician's spells. Each of these dazzling stories you'll find in these pages opens a door into a place called Dominia. If you've ever played the internationally best-selling game Magic the Gathering, or even if you've never heard of it, you're invited to share the excitement because when the adventures begin, the action of magic never stops. I mean, let's be real. That's a boring little blurb on the back, and it's boring to look at. This book does not excite me. Hopefully, it's pretty thick though. Hopefully the contents will turn out to be good. Then we've got Final Sacrifice. Years of fighting have come and gone, but now the last battle must be faced. From frozen mountains to an ocean-drowned forest, from war-torn battlefields to the glowing crypts of Latnam, the arch-druid Greensleeves travels with her ragged troops, searching for spells to defeat an army of angry wizards and end their reign of terror. While Greensleeves uncovers ancient mysteries, Gull the Woodcutter fights a fierce battle with a Keldon warlord who holds the key to an awful secret from the past. With each fight, Greensleeves, Gull, and their outnumbered army realize that only one last desperate spell can save them all. But to unleash it, Greensleeves must be willing to make the final sacrifice. Oh, and check it out. On the back of this book, they actually have images of the special cards that you could send away for in the back of the book. It's kind of missing a little chunk here, but whatever. It's the lore that matters. It's all about the lore. All right, guys, we're down to the last 6 books. We're almost there. Good on you for making it this far. You should be proud. This is The Thran. Oh, this is a cool novel. Before the Brothers' War, before the 5 Colors of Magic, before history itself, the plane of Dominaria was ruled by the Thran. They built machines and artifacts, the likes of which have never been seen. But amid this civilization, a shadow took root, one that would stretch its arms across space and time. The hideous evil of Phyrexia was born. I am really curious about this one. This is one of the higher ranking ones I'm excited about. I'd never seen that novel before, and I've always wanted to read it. The Monsters of Magic, another anthology. It looks like it's got the Sliver Queen from a very interesting angle on the cover. So, on Teleria, a mage devises a spell that will exceed Urza's greatest creation, unless a phantom monster undoes it all. In Epheto, a young fighter and his magic-eating Atog, I love that, launch a quest for vengeance against a deadly enemy. In Jamura, a cat dragon discovers a whole nation like her and sets out to teach them who is queen. Dragons, Lurgoyfs, Delriks, and other fearsome creatures from the world of Dominaria stalk the pages of these all-new tales. Yeah, I'm down. I am down. Then we've got Alara Unbroken. The plane of Alara split into 5 shards many centuries ago, each shard developing into a distinct world governed by its primary magical energy. A sunlit kingdom, a hierarchy of artifice, a realm of the undead, a dragon-scoured hell, and a jungle paradise. Now, as the planes begin to realign and merge once more, an ancient evil seizes the opportunity to gain power from the chaos. As the shards of Alara erupt into war, the fierce Leonin planeswalker Ajani Goldmane struggles to bring justice and resolution to his brother's death. Noble champions Rafik of the Many and Elspeth Tyrael search for the source of the chaos that has invaded their once ordered world. And Sarkin Vol, planeswalker and dragon shaman, discovers a primeval power that may be worthy of his reverence, but deadly to Alara. After that, Dark Legacy. War rages under the double moons of Dominia. That's so nostalgic, Dominia. It is Minotaur versus Elf in a in a bloody conflict of dirty politics and foul magics. The human orphan Uni brings 2 formidable weapons to the battle. One is the living armor, which turns its wearer into a berserk killing machine. What? The other is the stone idol Tyant, which once awakened slaughters with grim abandon. But Uni soon finds there is even more at stake than a kingdom. There is a third relentless enemy, under the ground, keeping the war going and dining on the dead of both armies. An eater of the dead. What? Crazy. That's crazy. And then we've got a larger size. All the other novels are the same size. This is a larger one. You may not be able to tell because of like the camera and everything, but this is larger. Walk the Plains of Dominia, and then it has the authors' names. In this collection of exciting new stories based on the international best-selling trading card game, you'll find baby wizards and demonic tutors, baby wizards, scavenging ghouls and ironclaw orcs, mystery and adventure wait in a world where magical artifacts abound, and wizards are as powerful as gods. Discover the sights and sounds of the worlds of Dominia, and don't forget to try barbecued throat wolf ribs while you're there. Ha! The throat wolf was a joke card that never existed. That's a nice little addition. I dig it. And then we have another Planeswalker novel. It's weird that this one's bigger. Okay. Apparently I have a book that came from a library. Fresh off an encounter, I can't read that part. Fresh off an encounter with somebody, was able to, okay, I'm assuming, fresh off an encounter with someone, Chandra was able to show off some of her more enlightening talents. Chandra Nalaar has earned a place in a loose association of fire mages, but she still has a lot to prove. especially to the Order of Heliod, that's really close to Heliod, a sect of mages bent on imposing their draconian laws across the land. The Order's ever-increasing influence is an affront to all Chandra holds sacred. Freedom, individuality, the right of self-determination, and most of all, the right to blow things up. A great pyromancer once said that destruction is best left to a professionals. They didn't even proofread this. A great pyromancer once said that destruction is best left to a professionals. And Chandra is proving to be world-class in the art of boom. Unfortunately, that notoriety is about to cause her a whole lot of trouble. I don't have a lot of faith in this being a good novel. I'm going to be real. The Planeswalker novels are the least exciting. So, my friends, those are all the novels. I have a ton of reading to do. And I'm going to be creating an epic universe, multiverse spanning lore series using all of these novels to tell you guys the amazing stories of Magic the Gathering. So, if you are somebody who made it all the way through this, congratulations to you. Well done. Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you want to keep up with what's going on here, make sure you do go ahead and subscribe so you can get on the goodness. Give the little thumbs up for the algorithm to be happy. Leave some comments because YouTube loves the engagement. Other than that, we've been here for a long time. This is a long video. If you like what I'm doing, consider supporting me over there on Patreon. Big shout out to my channels and Patreon members. Appreciate the support that you give me here. To all of you, I say thanks for coming by. Time for me to go. I'll link the lore video if you want, not lore video. I'll link the lore playlist if you want to watch all of my lore goodness. But for now, I'm history, baby.